Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you how your personality may be blocking the law of attraction from working. Now I believe that this video can give you a step-by-step process that can completely transform the way that you are showing up in the world so that ultimately you can get and attract what you want in your life. Now let's first off look at the word personality itself. If you break down the word personality, you get the word persona, which in Latin root means mask. Now the word actually is derived from theater and actors that were on a stage that would change their masks, therefore changes their persona. Now, the basis and the root of the word can help us understand how we can relate to the idea of personality in a completely new way. Because if I ask you the question, what is your personality? Like, where does it exist? The answer is something that we can't find. We can't find physically where our personality exists. Now, the breakdown of the word, if we even look at it from a point of psychology, comes from understanding that our personality is a combination of our thought patterns, of how we feel, and of our behaviors, or we could say how we think, how we feel, and how we act. Now, a lot of the information in this video is going to come from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has 2 books, or maybe more, but his books are mainly on understanding how our thoughts are creating our reality and understanding our identity and how our personality is creating our personal reality. Now, the easiest way to go about this process is to first off realize that we don't have to attain and acquire and really throw on the belief that changing our personality is a bad thing. Now, the problem with most people's processes is for going out and changing and attracting what they want is they try to change their personal reality without changing their personality, which means that we're really holding on to our identity. We're really holding on to the things that make us who we think we are. But the idea is we must first off let go of thinking that our personality is set. Realize that our personality is nothing more than our thought patterns, than the state of being that we're in, and the actions and behaviors that we repetitively think. Now let's also remember that most of what we repetitively think is on autopilot, meaning we think about 90% of what we thought the day before. So this makes it easy to understand because then we can really see that we must change our personality. We must change how we think, feel, and act in order to change the reflection that we're getting in our life. Now, the 3-step process I'm going to give you has to do with understanding, first off, we must unmemorize the thought patterns, we must unmemorize the feelings and the actions that we consistently take. Now, the easiest way I found to do this is to simply get into a new environment. The moment I get into a new environment, the moment I am out of the surroundings of where I'm at is the moment I start to trigger new thoughts, the more I start to then evoke new feelings, and obviously I'm going to do different things because I'm not under the hypnotic spell of continuous repetitive thinking. So the way that we do this is by simply deciding that we're going to take a different route to work every day. We're going to do things we haven't done before. If we want to go somewhere that inspires us, I mean, even just go to the bookstore, do something you haven't done, and as you do that, you start to change the wiring of the way that you're thinking. And the other part of this is understanding that we must take wisdom to a new level by not just theoretically reading ideas. You know, if it comes to, for example, reading something on forgiveness, the idea is that even as we learn the information, we are already starting to wire our brain in a different way. But we must take it beyond that. We must actually practice it. We must realize that we can first have the experience in our mind, but then we must actually practically apply it, and then through repetition, that's when we start to then get the results that we want. So the first step has to do with unmemorizing negative emotion, unmemorizing behaviors that no longer serve us. And the easiest way I have found to do this is by observing rather than reacting. So it's almost like as we have the thought coming into our mind, instead of trying to change it, we're just aware of it that it's there. You see, normally we go through daily life and we are so reactive to our environment that we're not even aware of it being there. But the moment we allow ourselves to become conscious of it is the moment that we get the power to actually change it, because then from that point going forward, if we continue to do it It's because we're choosing to do it, because now we're aware that we are doing it. And that's the power of choice. So we must first become aware of something we're doing, whether that is a habit, whether that is a feeling or a thought that we're having. And many times the thoughts lead to the feelings. The beliefs are what causes the feeling. So become aware of your thought patterns. If there's certain characteristics you're always thinking that are you, realize you can observe it rather than react. If when you go into a situation when you're in a group dynamic and you always think I'm the shy person, as you have those thoughts of thinking you're shy, or as you have the thoughts of fear come up of what will they think of me and all of these things, observe them. Realize that you can let go of thinking that that is who you are, of the reaction. You can just observe it, and that's when you begin to gain your power back. Now, the second step for this is understanding that we must condition new thoughts, we must condition new behaviors and new feelings into who we are. So the first step was unmemorizing, letting go of the identity. The second step is wiring in the behaviors that we prefer. So if every time we catch ourselves in public getting nervous around other people, we can become aware of it, but then what we can decide to do is to wire in a new behavior and wire in new thoughts. We can start to look around and realize, why do I feel threatened by this environment? Why do I need to feel threatened? And we can start to relate to our environment in a new way by first off having the thoughts of, I can be integrative with this, that I can focus on, instead of myself, I can focus on what is going on in the environment. I can focus on, instead of identifying with those negative thoughts, I can focus on being integrative in the environment. You see, as we shift the focus, we shift the feeling. So the next part of that, though, is taking the action. So as we take the action and as we do things maybe our old personality would have been afraid to do, we begin to wire in this new behavior. Now, taking the action could be, I'm going to smile to the person next to me. I would have never done that before because I'm normally a shy person, but I'm going to smile at that person and not be attached to the outcome. Or I'm going to talk and make small talk with this person that's in line. Whatever it is, realize the more you step outside and you do new things, the more you are breaking that identity, you are breaking that personality, and you are allowing yourself to stretch outside of it. Now, another part that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about is how when we get into the unknown, that's where all the magic happens. You see, everything that is within those thousands of thoughts that we think every day, the 60 to 70,000 thoughts, and 90% of them are recycled, there's very predictable results because there's a predictable way we're going to behave and act and respond. But the moment you do and you get into an environment you've never been before is the moment the unknown can happen. You can actually bring miracles into your life. You could bring and do things you've never done before because you don't know what to expect. So that's another important part of the process is get out and expand your own comfort zone. Decide to do things you've never done before. And as you do that, you will automatically have new thoughts, new behaviors, and new feelings because there is no repetition that can be evoked from it, because there is no autopilot there because you're in a new environment. Now, the third part of this process is the action and the repetition. We and our personality has been kept into place because of repetition. Because we have repetitively done the same things over and over again, we've thought the same ways, our identity, our self-image is on autopilot. Now, the key to this is knowing that we must continuously do it. We go out one time and we expand our comfort zone and we talk to people, make small talk with people we would have never over the old personality done before. We make small talk, we're not attached to the outcome, and we do that and we start to wire that in. Then the next time we do it again. You see, and over time, you're going to start to associate yourself with being a new type of person. Now, me, for example, I started to take action in a new way to where I do my passion every day. I love creating these videos. I love creating the aspects that go along with the business. And the more that I do that, the more I learn to love it. But at the same time, the repetition has changed the way I view myself because I no longer view myself as like a leaf in the wind that just is trying to figure things out. I now view myself as someone that can consciously be at the cause rather than the effect. And if you go out and you push yourself to talk to people every day, maybe if you're a guy, for example, that's afraid to talk to women, what you do is you go out and you push yourself to talk, just even small talk. As you do that over time with repetition, you're gonna view yourself in a new way. Guess what? That leaks into other areas of your life. Instead of just being about going out and making small talk with one person or pushing yourself to talk to more people, that will start to prove to yourself that you can be at the cause, not the effect. That will change your personality. You will start to view yourself differently. That will then leak out to other people, and other people will start to view you differently too, because they can feel that change within yourself. So the idea behind this and the easy 3-step process is realizing, first off, that your personality is nothing more than a combination of how you think, how you feel, how you act. If you change your thought patterns, you change the feelings, and then you can change your behaviors. The easiest way to go about this is to first off unmemorize past conditioning, unmemorize past thought patterns and behaviors by observing them rather than reacting to them. The moment you observe them, you take your power back, because then you can choose the new behavior, which comes to the second step, which is wiring in the new identity, wiring in the new behaviors by simply taking action and thinking the new thought patterns first. It starts in the mind, and then the feelings and the actions come naturally along with it. And then the third step, to take action and to do it with repetition. Simply decide it is who you are, and from that point, you're going to change so many different areas of your life. You'll notice by the end of doing this for maybe even a couple weeks, you're going to look at yourself in a completely new way, and you're going to know that you can be at the cause rather than the effect, which will change just about everything. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and at the same time hit that little notification gear so that you're able to see the daily videos that I do. I know some people say that even though I do daily videos, they see it like a couple a week. That's what you do if you want to see those daily vids. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, and namaste.